Fucking scandalous, that performance. Absolutely scandalous. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, the heart and soul of authentic football fan culture. You tuned into Pros and Cons right now, a show where we pick at the positives and nag at the negatives. And rest assured, there is going to be no positives on today's show. So in actual fact, I should have just called it cons, because that performance yesterday was right up there with one of the worst. Maybe Erik ten Hag's worst, along with Crystal Palace, and maybe there's a couple of others. But a major L for Man United fans yesterday, watching our team get smashed at Old Trafford by Spurs, who are, level on points with us, 10th in the league, haven't had the best starts to the season. The manager's under a huge amount of pressure, and we get smashed 3-0, and we have our captain sent off. So, yeah, another bad performance to add to Erik ten Hag's resume. I mean, he's lost so many games against the top 6, 8 teams in the league. I mean, the record is just speak for itself. It's horrendous. We've lost 3-0 to Liverpool. We've lost to Brighton. We've scraped draws against Crystal Palace and FC Twente, and in both of those games, they could have won that as well. Had Onana not made the double save, and had the manager not, tucked his nuts away, basically, and gone with a pragmatic defensive approach to try to secure a point, it could have gone a lot more messier. And I think if you look at our fixtures, which is something I'm going to touch on later on, I think it's only going to get worse, given the way we're currently playing. Maybe they'll get a reaction, but I'm not going to hold my breath with this team, because I know what these players are like, and I know they can just play well for one game, and then you won't see them for fucking the rest of the season. So, look, there's no other way about it. We've just got to dive straight into this. And like I said, it's all negatives that I'm going to talk about. No positives in this one, so strap in. Everyone, and when I mean everyone, there was one good performer last night. Maybe Onana can get away with it, but everyone was absolutely dog shit yesterday. Not one player can come off that pitch in reality and hold their head high and think, you know what? I know we had a bad performance today, but I was actually all right. Like I said, maybe Onana's the only one, even though, certain people in the media have an agenda against him. He's it could have been 5, 6, 7-0 had he not been goal. So he's the only one maybe I'll give a little bit of a pass to, but we look shaky, we look nervous. It looked like they didn't know what he was doing. It was like night and day compared to the Crystal Palace game, the first 45 minutes, right? And that first 45 minutes, much like the first 45 minutes that Ragnick, when he came in with the whole gegenpress and 4-2-2, it gave you a little bit of sense of belief and a little bit of control. And, it's not as bad now. It's not as chaotic. There's a plan. It's methodical. I can see what he's trying to do, right? And then I watched that yesterday, the way Tottenham pressed us, the way he was carving out chances, the spacing issues. I mean, there's a million things you can touch on, which I'm going to tactically again a little bit later on. Diego Dalot, who's been, a consistent player for us week in, week out in the team every single week. He had one of the worst performances I think I've ever seen in the United shirt. Maybe his worst performance. I think it can go down as that. I think that's fair to say. A terrible, terrible performance. The midfield, they didn't fucking know each other. Or they didn't want to know each other. I mean, Ugarte and Mainu, there just doesn't seem to be anything there. Bruno, I'm discussing. He's got his own negative section. I'll get onto him. They're just so disjointed. They just don't look like they know each other. There's no patterns. There's no conversations ongoing on the pitch. It's just like, well, I'll just do my job. You just do your job, and then we'll see where we get to. Xerxes' finishing was fucking terrible. Some of the passes he was making was terrible. The wingers. Rashford was all right. He was okay, but nothing to shout about. Likewise with Garnacho. I mean, oh my God, everyone, the full team. It was like a whole shit show came together at once, and it was like, yeah, let's do this. It's like everyone got in on like a tapped in email and was like, what we are going to do today, we are collectively going to play shit. Make sure no one has a good performance. Everyone has to be below a 5. And that is the shit show that you get cooked up. Unfortunately, a 3-0 loss against Spurs with your captain being sent off. Speaking of the captain, oh my God. I mean, how many conversations do we have to have about this man before he's either dropped, which he's been forced into being dropped now because he's got a red card. He has been terrible since the start of the season, and it needs to be called out. If you are the captain of Manchester United, look, you might have put the most kilometres in the game. You might do all the talking on the pitch or whatever it is. But in reality, the performances have been shit. We've been calling out for him to be dropped and stop this favouritism nonsense and bring someone else in. Whether it's Eriksen, Xerxes, whether it's Mason Mount, whoever it is, he needs to be dropped and he needs to be rotated. He had 42 minutes on the pitch yesterday, and he actually did fuck all apart from moan and then get sent off. Now, the red card in itself, I've got my own section for that. I don't believe it was, and I'll tell you the reasons for that. But regardless of that, he has been one of the worst players on the pitch. And as a captain, you need more than that. You need more than that. If there is a silver lining to any of this, like I said, I'm not doing any positives in this show whatsoever. But if there is any silver lining, it's the fact that Bruno Fernandes has to miss 2 games, right? I think it is in the Premier League, which means Ten Hag has no option but to rotate. He has to play Eriksen, or he has to play Xerxes, or he has to play Mountain there, or he has to shuffle the pack a little bit. And what I believe will come with that is more control, more, retention on the ball. Stop wasting chances. Stop going a million miles an hour. Granted, you might need some direction on the pitch or leadership, but does it look like there's any direction on the pitch anyway? No, I think the majority of United fans will be like, you know what? Let's bring a bit more class and control into the middle of the park, because that's what we need. Even push Manu up a bit further. Bring Ugarte and Casemiro together. Just change something up. Change something up. I think with Bruno, he needs to focus on this kind of mentality and physicality over the next couple of games and just rest himself and just, I don't know, go have 2 weeks somewhere. You know what I mean? Go do Dubai, do warm weather camp, what they usually fucking do. Do something and bounce back like a cobra, because the way you're performing at the minute is so below standards. Way below standards what we expect from him. And yeah, we need to shuffle the pack, at least try something. And now Ten Hag's having his hand being forced in that respect. So, yeah. I'm going to get into your comments in a minute. Keep getting them in. Smash like the video for us. I just want to get, through a couple of these. That red card was never, ever, ever a red card. Regardless, I think we still probably would have lost the game anyway. But that was not a red card. I think we can all universally agree on that. Even if it was on the other side, I'd be like, that is harsh. He clearly slipped. It's not vicious. He caught him. It's defo yellow, but never a fucking red. And it's not foul play. It's just a little bit of petulance. He slips. He's kind of flicks his foot out. It's not, if Lissandro, for example, when he did that at Crystal Palace, if he would have caught someone, instant red. You can't even debate it. That's like, come on. He's obviously slipped. I think it's ridiculous. What the fuck is VAR there for? And we said before the game, me and Dan, and when we did the preview, we said there's going to be a VAR moment that fucks us over. And boy, was we right. And guess what as well? We also said Brennan Johnson will score. Everything came... I don't want to be right, and we don't want to be right in the channel, but we're just saying, because we know what this team is like, we was like, yeah, it'll probably be a VAR decision, red card, Brennan Johnson will score. Tick, tick, tick. All 3 of them happened, and you guys said it as well. So, yeah, I'm just curious to know what VAR is there for. Surely you must look at that on a screen like the millions of fucking people were doing when we were watching the game, going, right, okay, let's have a look. How can you then rewatch that and go, yeah, we're not going to overturn the ref? Is that not an obvious mistake? That should probably... We look back at it, John, whoever it is. I can't remember who was reffing yesterday. We look back at it. Yeah, it's a bit harsh to give a red. I'll probably go with the yellow. Just rescind your card and give him a yellow. Boom, bosh, sorted. But no, it's like, no, the ref's made the call, so we're going to have to stick with it. It's a shit call, though, so we shouldn't stick with it. And then the rest is history, what happens in the game. Let me talk about Erik Ten Hag, and I promise you I'll get into the comments in a minute, but I need to talk about Erik Ten Hag. Let me pull this up. Honestly. This style, and Andy, I know what you're going to say. I know you've been saying it for ages. This style, Erik Ten Hag style, or lack of style, or no style, is killing us. It's absolutely killing us. It is incredibly discouraging how passive we are off the ball when you watch us. How messy the plans are on the ball. There's no rhythm. There's no cohesion. The only thing I can remember for the game yesterday was how many times the camera cut, right? So it'd be showing a replay. You'd hear the crowd moan, and the replay would go off quickly, and Tottenham would have the ball again, and they'd be on the attack. I can count on more than 2 hands how many times that happened. Honestly, there is still giant spaces. The attacking routines had about as much imagination as a blank canvas. There was no ideas being generated in the final phase or when we had it in the midfield. We kind of reverted to the first season approach, against the big side at home, and then we lose again. We lose again. A million things wrong. I think I saw someone put it on X last night. I think it was H, who's a really good analyst. No imagination, no vision, no coached way to create scoring opportunities. And you have to call it out. Personnel has to come into this as well. Obviously, players, mentality, the ability to take instruction and apply it on the pitch. It is just basically what our ideas is on the pitch. And the tactical thought is, let's get a canvas and let's just get a paintbrush and fuck off. That's what we do. It's just, yeah. And sometimes it may look good. You get the the artist looking at you going, that's not bad, actually. I can see what you're trying to do. The majority of the time, people are just like, that is just sporadic. That is just all over the place. And that just does not work. And I think, to be honest with you, I'm not saying this as like a sensationalist comment or saying it as, you know, I think I'm done with this manager, man. I cannot watch no more of this kind of football and keep trying to get your hopes up and keep trying to believe in something when you can't see it on the pitch from the manager, you can't see it on the pitch from the players. You know, he's spent a lot of fucking money, £600 million he's spent. And I know Ineos are coming out and they're saying, you know, we're willing to back him. You know, we've put faith in him. We've brought all these coaches in. And obviously they're not going to get rid of him because they've done all of this. So they look like idiots putting faith in him, putting all these new staff and, you know, stuff above him and, you know, bringing in De Ligt, Majari and all these kind of guys. And then, you know, if you get 5 games into the season, you get rid of him, they're going to look like idiots. So I think he at least gets until Christmas, even if he probably draws the Villa game and loses Porto or, you know, mirror the situation. I still think he's going to stay. That's why I said at the start of the very video, buckle up, because it's going to get worse. It is going to get worse. One of the concerning things is that we spoke about the summer window. And I think we all collectively agreed, pretty good window, right? What Ineos done, I think they've done a good job. And you know what? I'm worried about a couple of new signings. And that's weird for me to say because I thought the first few games that I saw, De Ligt looked comfortable, looked assured. He looked shocking yesterday. He looked so nervous, so worried. It looked like United's grabbed hold of him already. The United effect. Majari had a couple of shaky moments. He was all right for the majority of it, but he did have a couple of shaky moments against the Timo Werner, getting him behind or whoever it was. Ugarte, I mean, he needs to improve on the ball a lot. And I know there were some concerns about that, and I know that's why Luis Enrique got rid of him, and I know that the reason why we brought him in was to put out fires, right? But he wasn't putting out fires. If you look at Van der Ven's assist, yesterday, which, you know, might as well be a goal. He might be rewarded because the run that he did was unbelievable, but there were 3 players who were just in his dust. Ugarte's one of them. I think Bruno Fernandes is the other one, and maybe Majrara is the other 3 players around him, and he just smokes straight through him. The application of the ball needs to be better, needs to be more intense. And people will throw the fact in there. He's had a couple of games with United, you know, not a proper preseason, all that kind of shit. I don't give a shit. I thought a lot of them had very, very shaky moments last night. And is that because it's tougher, you know, opposition? Is that because it's Spurs? Because the first couple of games, it's Palace, it's Southampton. You know, a lot of these teams will sit back and try to be a bit pragmatic, play with back fives. Spurs attacking, pressing, made us uncomfortable. And they did not like that. And I think what's going to happen now is other teams are going to look at that blueprint. Other teams are going to be like, that is the way to get at him. Because you can force an error out of us. You can force a mistake out of us. And that's been a thing that stuck with us for ages. Again, we're sat here saying, should we be worried about the money that's been spent? Are we judging him too early? I don't know. A lot of people are very reactionary after the game. It's a good job I didn't go on the review last night because I was absolutely livid. And some of the shit I said, I was like, yeah, maybe that is reactionary, but I think I'm done with a lot of these things. Look, we're only 5 games into the season, 6 games into the season. And the majority of fans are already like, do you know what? I can't be arsed. I can't be arsed anymore. I'm just completely done with the team. And I don't blame him. I really don't blame him at all. Right, let's get into your comments then and see what you guys are saying. No more excuses. Eric Ten Hag, I did both watching the game yesterday. Crap. Paid nearly £30 to watch United last 2 games on Sky. I thought Garnacho was okay. Rashford was awful. Brian saying worst performance I've seen in a long time. Andy saying I'm not judging any players when this garbage is allowed to continue. My eyes are firmly on Ineos. Who would you have as a captain? Personally, I don't think Bruno should be. But also going off the season, neither should Lissandro. That's the issue, isn't it? There isn't anyone. There isn't a standout option. There's deficiencies with any player you mention. Anyone. So it's going to be Bruno. It's going to stay captain. They've just given him a brand new contract. So again, buckle up. Put your belt on. Strap in for this drive. You thought last season was bumpy and a bit mad. This season could equally get as worse. We could easily finish 8th again. Someone tell me any different. Because if you look at the Premier League season, you look at the Premier League table, and you look at the teams that are around, Villa, Brighton, Chelsea, City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs. You know, we're going to be with the West Hams in the pack. That's where we're going to be at. And we play West Ham soon. I don't think a lot of people will be confident going away to their stadium and getting a result. So God knows where we're going to finish this season. I don't have a clue. Genuinely. Don't have a clue. The only guy I've heard say it was red is Gabby, so that in itself means it was never red exactly. I said it wasn't sustainable. I wanted to be wrong game after game. It was the same thing. Fans just love a fairy tale. Look, Andy, I am the first person. I am not one of those guys who will just be like, who will stick to something just for the fucking sake of it. Do you know what I mean? I ain't one of those guys. If I see something, I will call it out. And that on the pitch, and that for a while now, has been shit. The reason why I give him an opportunity at the start of this season, and I'll get onto the last negative in a minute. Maybe the FA Cup emotion did get me, and I don't think you can blame fans for that. Not you personally, but just the media, whoever it is. I don't think you can blame fans personally for feeling like that, because the emotion to beat the best team in the world in a final and win a significant trophy for the second season in a row is pretty big, right? Obviously, Ineos couldn't get the guy that he wanted, so he's like, right, let's meet in the middle somewhere. Let's give him a bit of an extension. Let's back him and let's see how he does. That's backfired. They're going to have to review that maybe near the Christmas. Well, they should be doing it now, but they're probably going to do it near the Christmas time. And like, right, who can we get in? Does Rude step in for 6 months and then we actually go and get the target that we wanted initially? Who is that target? You know, there's people speaking about Inzaghi, who's actually a really good coach. People speak about Thomas Frank, who equally I believe is a very good coach as well. I don't know. But that seems, for me, way down the line when they're going to end up doing that. They're going to back the manager for now, so strap in. Reoccurring theme. I think if even United win against Porto but lose to Villa, I think he'll be gone. Rudy's there waiting. I don't think he will. I think they'll stick with him, honestly. Honestly, don't think that performance was solely on Ten Hag. Those players need to take a look. The players effectively are the ones who go on the pitch, but watching that yesterday, you cannot tell me they are coached properly. They're either not taking the instructions on correctly, or they are very confused, and they look very confused on the pitch. At times, like, do we go long? Do we go short? You know, where are the wing-backs going? And the midfielders drop it? Like, there was a lot of confusion. So, I hope, just for the team's sake and for the fans' sake, you get a reaction against Porto. But Porto away in the Europa League, Arsenal struggled against them last season when he was fighting for a title. I don't care what kind of form they're in. That is going to be a difficult game. Look, let's just get onto that, actually. Because it's going to get worse before it gets better. Porto away. Aston Villa away. Brentford at home. Fenerbahce, a Jose Mourinho Fenerbahce away. Is anyone fully confident that we can win any of those games, given the form that certain teams are in? I think Porto away we could easily lose or draw. I think Villa away we definitely lose. I think Brentford at home I think they beat us, genuinely. And I think Fenerbahce away, you might struggle to get a point because Mourinho will do Mourinho things. And you've got the narrative with Amrabat and Fred there and da-da-da. I see 2 points out of them games. 2 points. And if you look at the Premier League table now, lads, and ladies and gentlemen, sorry, I don't just want to fix it on one gender. It is a shocking reading. It really, really is. 6 games into the season, sorry, I keep saying 5. 7 points. We've won 1 of our last 5, lost 3 and drew 1. We're 12th in the league, behind Brentford, behind Nottingham Forest, behind Fulham, and we're near, just ahead of Bournemouth, West Ham, and 3 points ahead of Ipswich. 6 games into the season. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. We're already 8 points behind Liverpool, 7 points behind Man City and Arsenal, and by the way, 6 points behind Chelsea, who everyone said was doomed, and will definitely finish above them. So that is where we're at, guys. That is where we're at, people. Awful. Would you say the Carabao Cup is a significant trophy? No, the FA Cup's a significant trophy. The Carabao is, the Classic is a significant trophy, and it was nice to win it at the time. But out of all the competitions that you're in, obviously I think it goes like Community Shield, Carabao, FA Cup, something in Europe, Premier League. For me personally, that's the way I look at it. But everyone's different, aren't they? So yeah. Sean, joining late. Hope I didn't miss much. No, just nearly the full show, Sean. But scroll back and have a watch. There's no positives on today's show. I've already told everyone that. It's just cons and negatives. And now, if anyone who's watched the show before and has seen it, you will know this is your time to put your negatives in there. So anything that I have missed out, put them in. Or get them in the comments more to the point. Let's do that. And we'll keep it short and sweet because we are going to be live again tonight. And again, there'll be a couple of things. We're going to discuss Inzaghi. We're going to discuss, a couple of things that are out there. So leave your comments and thoughts and feelings in the chat. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Sorry, it's a quick one. It's a quick one for a reason. There's other stuff and videos I need to put out there. So yeah, there's going to be maybe another one dropping in the afternoon or later on today, and then we're going to be live again tonight. So please do smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you later on. Yeah, take it easy.